My name is Tim Ryan. I'm a congressman from Ohio, where I live with Andrea, who's a first-grade school teacher, and Mason, who's 16, and Bella, who's 15, and Brady, who's 5. And we had a traumatic event several weeks ago in Dayton, Ohio, where a gunman took the lives of Ohioans, where 21, 22, 23-year-old kids had to literally watch people bleed out on a street in Dayton, Ohio, because someone had a weapon that they shouldn't have had, with the capacity to kill many people. And I want to be very, very clear about this. Mitch McConnell needs to get off his ass and pass comprehensive background checks and an assault weapon ban and close the Charleston loophole. And I want to be a part, as your nominee, of going to states around this country and making sure that Mitch McConnell is no longer in the United States Senate, that Lindsey Graham is no longer in the United States Senate, and that people, Trump sycophants like Corin Lewandowski, never set a damn foot in the United States Senate. We need policies in the United States that are not left or right. We need policies as Democrats that are about new and better. The old arguments, the old culture wars that have been going on since Vietnam have got to be put in the past. I want us to adopt an industrial policy in the United States where we start building things again in this country. We start making things again in this country. One of my first acts will be to appoint a chief manufacturing officer. If we want to address climate, we need to dominate the industries of the future. And my chief manufacturing officer will make sure that we are out building the Chinese when it comes to electric vehicles, that the American workers are building the batteries and the charging stations and the solar panels and the wind turbines that will make up the new economy. And I want to lead a party next fall that is proud to stand at podiums like this all across the United States and say, we want to make sure that those American workers are in the American union movement so that they could have a good wage. I don't want us to be the party of $15 an hour. I voted for the fight for 15. I support the fight for 15. But if we're going to be the party of the future, we need to be the party of $30 an hour jobs, $40 an hour jobs, $50 an hour jobs. We need to rebuild the middle class in the United States of America. I want us to have a new and better education system. And that means we need to move away from the idea that we just want higher test scores. We've got to move to an education system that asks the question, how do we take care of our kids? How do we take care of our kids? I want to make sure that there is a mental health counselor in every school in the United States of America that needs one. I want to make sure every kid has access to art therapy and music therapy and play therapy. I want to make sure that there is social and emotional learning programs in every single school in the United States of America, where we recognize that we need trauma-informed curriculum, that we need to take care of our kids. We need to make sure their brain's functioning, and we've got to rebuild vocational education in the United States of America so our kids are prepared for the future. We've got to make sure that our kids can afford to go to college, and those people who have student loans can renegotiate them down so the banks don't make all the money and the people of America can win again in the American economy. I want us to recognize as a country that health care is a right. It is a human right to have health coverage in 2019. We need some public option for the American people to buy into. We spend 2.5 times as much as every industrialized country, and we get the worst health care results. But we also need to have a conversation in the United States. We also need to have a conversation in the United States that our health care system is a disease care system. We wait until people get sick, and then the pharmaceutical companies come in, the health companies come in, and they make a ton of money. If we're going to fix this issue in the United States, we need to move to a health care system that is based on prevention, that is about the business of reversing chronic disease, which accounts for 3/4 of the healthcare costs in the United States, where we use prevention, we use food as medicine to reverse things like type 2 diabetes in the United States. That's a modern, new healthcare system that you and that we can build together. And if we're going to fix climate, if we're going to fix the issue of global warming, we need to move from a monopolized industrial agriculture system to a system based on regenerative agriculture that sequesters carbon and can put money back in the hands of the farmers of the United States of America. Not left or right, but new and better. Not left or right, new and better. And I'm from Ohio, and I'm asking you for the opportunity to be your nominee, to campaign in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Ohio, in Western Pennsylvania, where I've come from, where I've won my congressional district with 68% since 2003, where I know how to talk to these workers about building things again, about being a part of America's future, about rebuilding the forgotten communities and the forgotten families in the United States. I promise you that if I'm your nominee, I will send Donald Trump's ass back to Mar-a-Lago full-time. Maybe we'll send them to Greenland. And I will say I'm ready for the fight. I'm Irish. You know the old Irish saying, is this a private fight or can anyone get into it? Let me tell you one quick story. We took a caravan down to see Mitch McConnell in Louisville to pass gun violence legislation. And we were at the Muhammad Ali Center. And Muhammad Ali used to live in Kentucky. And one day, someone walked up to the champ and said, "Hey, champ, I saw one of your fights." And the champ said, "Oh, yeah, great." He said, "Yeah, you got knocked down in the 3rd round." Champ said, "Wasn't my fight." He said, "No, my dad took me. It was this great father-son experience. I saw you, but you got knocked down in the 3rd round." Champ says, "Wasn't my fight." He said, "I've never been knocked down. I'm either up or I'm getting up. New Hampshire has never been knocked down. New Hampshire is either up or getting up. The Democratic Party has never been knocked down. It's either up or it's getting up. The unions of the United States of America have never been knocked down. They're either up or they're getting up. America has never been knocked down. America is either up or America's getting up. Tim Ryan for America.com. Let's win this election.